I am going to show you how to set up systems of equations with story problems and for real world examples such as these ones on, and they're not limited to what's on these next few pages, but this will give you a start on how to set them up. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you may have to read each problem carefully, like maybe one or two times, maybe draw a picture, but use those words and phrases that we learned in chapter 2, and hopefully you'll be able to set them up, and then use the information from section 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. You may use elimination, you may use substitution, whatever method you want to use to solve them. So the first example, hopefully you'll start to see a pattern with these, and I'll point that out. But the first problem, it says the sum of two numbers is 67. The word sum means add. So you have two numbers. So we're going to call them X and Y. And you don't have to always use X and Y, but for here I'm going to use X and Y for this one. The sum of them is 67. And then it says the smaller number is, okay, so let's designate X as the smaller. X will be the smaller, is, it says 3 less than the larger number. So remember I taught you when you see less than, write this in reverse order. So it'd be y minus 3. So these are your two equations. And now this is set up, in my opinion, for substitution. So if x is y minus 3, I'm going to plug that in for x in the top equation. So you have y minus 3 plus y equals 67. Then these two y's you can add up. So you get 2y minus 3 equals 67. Add 3 to 67. 2y equals 70 divided by 2. And I'm going to go fast because we have a lot to cover. So y is 35. So y we said is the larger number. So the what are the two numbers? The larger is 35. And x is the smaller. So if you plug 35 here, 35 minus 3 is 32. So 32 is the smaller. And always label your answers. And you can go back and check. Do these two numbers add to be 67? Yes. Is the smaller number 3 less than the larger? Yes, it is. So it makes sense. So you want to look at the reasonableness of these answers. Number 2. Okay, now we're going to see a series of problems that talk about numbers, like money. So we've got two things. We've got dimes and nickels. Okay, we have dimes and nickels. Let's use D for dimes and N for nickels. So then at the end, we'll know which is which, because they want to know how many of each coin you have. So Sasha has $1.65 in dimes and nickels. Look for, when you're doing this, how many individual pieces do you have of coins? You have 21 coins. So you have dimes and nickels. You have 21 of them. Your next equation is going to be, what is a dime worth? It's 10 cents. So 0.10D. And a nickel is 5 cents. And we have $1.65. So I always think of this, money. And we have 21 pieces. So now, how are you going to solve this? What I would do, I don't like dealing with decimals. So I want to multiply this equation by 100, because I'm going to move the decimal. 2 over here, 2 over here, and 2 over here. So this equation is really 10D plus 5N equals 165. So now, if this looks like it's getting set up for elimination, I'm going to want to multiply, let's multiply this top equation by -5, because then I'll have a -5n here, and then I can add right down. So anyways, you get -5d minus 5n equals -105. And when you add, these are gone, you get 5d equals 165 minus 105 is 60. Divide by 5, and you get 14. That means there's 14 dimes. And then if you plug 14 in here, so 14 plus n equals 21, subtract 14, and you get 7 nickels. Okay, next. This one is talking about a concession stand, and we've got two things, hot dogs and hamburgers. So let's use D for dogs, hot dogs, and B for burgers. And we've got a total of, at halftime, they sold a total of 78 hot dogs and ham. So this is like the money problem. We have 21 pieces of coin. We have 78 hot dogs and hamburgers sold. Now, the next equation is how much is each one worth? Okay, so it looks like a hot dog is $1.25. So 1.25 D plus, and a hamburger is 150. And we sold money, 105.50. Okay? So now, how are we going to solve this? Well, some of you may want to multiply the top equation by, let's say, negative 1.25. You can do that. Or, here's another option. I'm going to move the decimal 2 over here, 2 over here, and 2 over here. So this equation is now 125D plus 150B equals 10,550. I just simply move the decimal 2 over here, 2 over here, 2 over here. It's the same equation, but no decimal. So now, if I want to eliminate, I'm going to take the smaller one. I'm going to multiply this top equation by negative 125. So you get negative 125D minus 125B equals 9,750, and it's negative. So when you add down, the D's cancel, you get 25B equals 800, divide by 25, and B is 32. B stands for burgers. So there's 32 burgers, and if you plug 32 in for B, subtract that from 78, and you get 46 hot dogs. Okay, and again, you should check, add these up, 78, and you could actually multiply 46 times the number of the cost of a hot dog, and 32 times the cost of a burger, and you should get 105.50. Next, okay, we are on example number 4. This is a sporting goods store. We are selling left and right-handed gloves. So let's use right hand, R for right-handed, L for left-handed, and we sold 12 gloves total. The next equation is going to be how much is a right glove? A right glove is $45. A left glove is $52. And we sold $561. Remember, money, money, money. So for this one, I would multiply the top equation by negative 45. So you end up with negative 45R minus 45L. Negative 45, a lot of people forget to multiply this number. You get negative 540. Keep the second equation the same. And if you add, these are gone, you end up with 7L equals 21. Divide by 7, and that would be 3 left-handed gloves. And if you substitute 3 in L for L, you get 9 right gloves. Okay, next one. You're going to see quite a few of these interest problems. Okay, so we have a total of $3,000. So think of that as how many units you have. So this is a little different. X plus Y, we have $3,000 to invest. Now each account or investment earns a percent. It's like the glove problem. Right glove is $45 and the left glove is $52. You've got a percent for each one of these. So one account is 6%, but you have to make sure you write it as a decimal. 0.06x plus the other one is 10%. So this is what each account is worth. And we want to earn $216. So money, percent with money. But remember, we've got a total of $3,000 to invest. So now for this one, again, I don't like the decimals, so I'm going to move this over 2, which means I have to add 2 zeros to this. So this equation becomes 6x plus 10y equals 216. I have to add 2 zeros. So now I want to multiply this top equation by, let's say, -6. I could have done -10, but I'm just going to do -6. Now, why would I choose the smaller number? Because then I won't have a negative variable. Always want to try to avoid that. So -6x minus 6y equals 18,000. And when you add, you get 4. These x's cancel. 4y equals 3,600. Divide by 4, and you get 900. So that means 900 of the $3,000 is invested in the 10%. And then the difference of that, which is 2,100, would be in the 6%. Okay, next one. This one is mixing 2 solutions. And I believe section 4.5 is the mixture section where you will see example 5 and 6. Okay, so for this one, we've got 2 different types of solutions. Okay, so remember, the first, we're going to say we have 2 solutions, but how many units? We have 500 milliliters of the 2 solutions. Okay, we want to mix the value of each one is 10%. And the other one is 4%. Now, we want our new mixture, so one is 10%, one is 4%. I want my new solution to be 6%. So I have to figure out what 6% of 500 milliliters is, which if you multiply, so 0.06 times 500, you get 30. So I want 30 units to be of this 6% strength. So now for this one, I would multiply, I would get rid of these decimals. So if I move this 2 over, and add 2 zeros here, so this would be 10x plus 4y equals 3,000. And then for this one, I'm going to multiply this top equation by -4. You get -4x minus 4y equals -2,000. And when you add 6x equals 1,000, divide by 6, and you get 166.66, which is really 166 2/3, and it's milliliters. So 166 2/3 milliliters of the 10%. And then subtract that from 500, and you're going to get 333 1/3 milliliter of the other one, which is the 4%. Next one, you're getting ready to move and you have some friends helping you. So you're going to buy, so the first round you got tuna and ham sandwiches. So you bought 6 tuna and 6 ham, and you spent $30. Later at night, everyone's hungry and you're gonna go buy 4 tuna and 8 ham, and you spend $30.60. Okay, so now, we don't have any well, we do have a decimal here, but we're just gonna ignore that one. We're just gonna look at this and say, oh, we have a 6t and a 4t. If I multiply this top equation by 2 and the bottom one by -3, I'll have 12t and -12t. So that's our goal here. So the top equation, you end up with 12t plus 12h equals 2 times 30 is 60. And then -3 times 4 is -12t. And then minus 24h equals -9180. And when I add these t's cross out, you get -12h equals -3180. And if you divide by -12, h ends up being $2.65, because they're asking you what's the price of each sandwich. So the ham sandwich is 265, and the tuna, you're going to plug 265 into one of these equations and solve. You end up with 235 for the tuna. Next one. Some of these on the back page are relatively easy. This next example, it says the sum of two numbers is 128. So that just means adding them up. So x plus y equals 128. And it says their difference, which means subtract, x minus y equals 44. So when I add, those cancel. You get 2x equals 172. Divide 172 divided by 2, and you get 86. So one of the numbers is 86. You'd plug 86 into one of these equations, or just subtract it from 128, and you get 42 is the other number. And now check it. Add these up and see if you get 128. You do. Subtract these and see if you get 44, and you do. Okay. Number 2. It says the sum of two numbers is 23. That's easy. X plus y equals 23. It says if one of the numbers is halved, so half of, let's say, x, the sum, we're going to leave the second equation, or the second number the same, is 17. Okay, so now I don't want to deal with this half, so I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 2. So this equation becomes x plus 2y equals 34, leaving the top equation alone. Okay, now if I go ahead and subtract one of the equations, and I'm going to do this one because it has a smaller number, I get y is equal to 11, and if I plug 11 in for y, I get 12 is the other number. So 11 and 12 are my two numbers. And again, add these up, you get 23, and take one of them. If you took 12 and halved it, which is 6, 6 plus 11 is 17, so it works. Okay, another money problem. This is an exact problem from, almost exact, from the previous pages. So we've got nickels and dimes, and we have 23 of them. So n plus d equals 23. A nickel is 5 cents, 0.05. A dime is 0.10, and we have $1.50. Okay, so the second equation, I'm going to move the decimal over 2 places, 5n, 10d, 150. I just moved the decimal over. Now I'm going to multiply this top equation by -5. So negative 5n minus 5d equals negative 115. And when you add your n's, cross out, 5d equals 35. So d is 7. So we have 7 dimes. And if you subtract 7 from 23, you get 16 nickels. Again, another money problem. Jim is cleaning out a reflecting pool at the library. He found 20 nickels and quarters. N plus Q equals, there's 20 of them. A nickel is 5 cents. A quarter is 25 cents. And he found a total of 260. Let's keep the same pattern going. I'm going to move the decimal 2 over. 5n plus 25q equals 260. Multiply the top equation by -5. Negative 5n minus 5q equals 100. But it's negative, don't forget, because a negative times a positive is negative. Add, you get 20q equals 160. Q is 8. So that means there's 8 quarters. And if 8 of the 20 are quarters, that would mean 12 are nickels. Next, number 5, we've got soccer and baseball shoes. So soccer plus baseball, and we've got 50 pairs sold. Soccer shoes are $25, so 25s. Baseball shoes are $30, and we sold $13.40. That's our total. Money, money, money. So I'm going to multiply this top equation by -25, and I'm going to get -25s minus 25b. Negative 25 times 50 is -1250. Keep the bottom equation the same. 1340. Okay, when you add the s's cross out, you end up with 5b equals 90. 5 goes into 90 18 times. That means 18 baseball shoes. And 18 from 50 gives us 32 sucker. Okay, number 6, sorry. You are buying meat for a cookout. And you need 8 packages of meat. We've got hot dogs, so dogs and burgers, and we have 8 packages. How much is a package of hot dogs? $1.60. 160D plus burgers are $5 equals 23. Again, I would move the decimal 2 places over. So this becomes 16. Actually, 1 place over is enough. So 16D plus 50B equals 230. And I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 16. Negative 16D minus 16B equals 16 times 8 is 128, but it's negative. And we are going to get 34B equals 102. And 102 divided by 34 is 3. So 3 burgers and 5 hot dogs. Number 7, you're at a fundraiser and we are serving adults and children. There's 210 people, adults and children, 210. An adult ticket is $6, so 6 adult, $3 for a child, and we brought in $930. Okay, so we will multiply this top equation by negative 3. So you get negative 3a minus 3c equals negative 630. Keep the bottom equation the same. And when you add these c's cross out, you get 3a equals 300, and a is 100. So that's 100 adult, and if you subtract 100 from 210, you get 110 children.